Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we are joined by Eric Crownover as we review Transformers Galaxies Issue 8. The Japanese cover of IDW's More Than Meets the Eye Volume 3 gets revealed, and why is Marvel's OG Transformers #1 going up in value? Today is Friday, August 21st, 2020, and this is episode 195 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that has a few issues of Transformers #1 to put up on eBay. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
80s icon Rick Crownover.
Hello.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Is this the new Rickrolled? I'm trying to figure it out. Let's talk Transformers.
This is what comes to my mind when I see his icon on Twitter. All right. Yeah, we are joined this week by Eric Crownover of Steel City Bots and Radio Free Cybertron. You might have heard him on Transmissions earlier this week, so welcome back.
Yay.
Yeah, okay. Let's go on. So we start off as always by thanking our Donatrons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show. If you are not a Donatron and you'd like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can find links to sign up. One of the perks of being a Donatron is that you are automatically entered in our monthly Toy Hacks $10 gift code giveaway contest, and we are going to be doing the drawing for that contest very soon. Not this week, but very soon. If you would like to get entered for the August drawing, you still have a little bit of time. We are probably going to do the drawing this Sunday, August 23rd, so you've got a couple more days before the entries are cut off. If you become a Donatron, you get automatically entered. If you're not able to become a Donatron, you can still enter the contest by sending an email to contest@transmissionspodcast.com. Send us an email with a picture of the Transformer you would like to get stickers for from Toy Hacks, and with a short note, and we will add you to our list. We've already had 2 entries this month, in addition to all our Donatrons, so good luck to everyone. You can also help the show by buying some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That is at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And you can also help out our friend K-Girl and her store at tpublic.com/user/superstark. We've got lots of cool shirt designs. We've got mask designs, other merchandise, all sorts of cool stuff. And anything you buy from TeePublic through our link helps us out. So go to transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We also had an interview last week with War for Cybertron Siege writer Brandon Easton. That is up in our alt mode feed, and it's also up on YouTube. You should already have access to it and have already seen it's been out for a week, so please check it out if you hadn't had a chance to watch it. Brandon Easton is a cool dude. He's written for lots of different sci-fi properties. He's done a lot of stuff on Transformers. He's a big Transformers fan like we are. And he did 3 episodes of the Netflix War for Cybertron Siege show. He wrote 3 episodes, and he's writing 3 issues of Transformers Galaxies that are coming very soon, which is the Ultra Magnus story arc that's going to be coming out in just a couple of months. You can also check out the uncut version of Empire of Rust, episode 30. That is going up next Monday for Donatrons. This is one of the perks of that we provide to our Donatrons. They get the bonus episode of Empire of Rust for every new episode that comes out, and this is all the stuff left in that was cut from the cutting room floor. All of it is still in there, and it's a nice little bonus for all of our Donatrons. So that will be up in the Patreon feed this Monday, August 24th. All right, let's start off with some comics news. So we got a couple of things in comics. First, the Japanese cover of the next trade paperback volume of More Than Meets the Eye. So this is volume 3. This collects issues 12 to 16 in Japanese language. So this is for all the Japanese Transformers fans who have not had access to More Than Meets the Eye before the comic series. Now it's being produced in Japanese. This is scheduled to release on August 28th, and it's 136 pages. So the artwork is pretty cool. It doesn't tell us who the artist is. Oh, no, it does. It's Tetsuku Tajima. Since in this volume we did have the Vig Overlord battle, so that is what is prominent on this cover.
This is amazing looking.
Yeah.
You've read the previous 2 volumes, right?
In Japanese, yes. No, I have not. I'm doing Japanese on Duolingo, but I am not anywhere near fluent or literate in Japanese. So I have read it several times in English. So I know that our fellow Japanese Transformers fans are in for a treat if they had not experienced Transformers More Than Meets the Eye. That's one of my favorite comic series, and I think they'll enjoy it.
They better.
Next up, we have some bonus material from Transformers versus the Terminator issue 3. This is line art that Alex Milne has put up. This was for the iTunes preview, for the 3 pages in the iTunes preview that was already out. But at this point, you should already have the comic since the comic came out this week. So everyone should have access to it. But it's cool to see the line art before the colors are put on. So 3 pages from that are available here. And we've also got the designs for the redesigns that Alex Milne did for Velocity and RC, because they were redesigned as 80s cars. And these are super cool. So
they look amazing.
This is a real treat. Alex Milne, I think, is one of the best TF artists for doing redesigns of classic characters. And when he really takes his time to give them designs that make logical sense, and turn into their alt modes. And he just took 2 classic muscle cars and turned them into RC and Velocity. Velocity is a lesser known character. She came out of More Than Meets the Eye, and I don't think she even has a toy yet. But she was one of the new characters created specifically in the More Than Meets the Eye comic series, and now she has been imported into a G1-esque series in Transformers versus the Terminator. But she was a medic. Her character was originally a medic, and in More Than Meets the Eye, and I think she has that same profession her character has it in Transformers versus the Terminator. So, but everyone should have read it by now since the comic is out this week. So you probably have seen. But yeah, RC has her twin swords that she had in the IDW series. But getting that classic car redesign is super cool.
I want to just jump in on this a little bit here. The fandom has kind of really taken to these designs, and so they should, because they're really great, right? Like, you've got RC as an 83 Ford Mustang and Velocity as a 77 Pontiac Firebird. I mean, it's they're just fantastic vehicles. But what I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of hate towards like the old designs. Like, they're saying, okay, well, these are what RC should have looked like in the G1 series. Their G1 design should have been this. And well, first of all, our Velocity was not in the G1 series, so that's but saying that RC should have looked like this is and kind of throwing a lot of hate at those Fleero Deary designs is it's really not helping anything. You can like this design, and you can also like the other design. One doesn't replace the other, and that's one of the things.
The original RC was based on the future of 2005.
Yeah, right. So I mean, I did a post and taking these designs and kind of explaining, where these designs they're a crossover, and they're fun, and they're great, and they're kind of in the same vein as the Star Trek ones, the Ghostbuster ones, and the current My Little Pony crossover. Like, everything's all just, it's fun. And, yes, the Terminator one's gritty as hell and awesome. It's being drawn superbly well by Alex, but it's still supposed to be kind of taken as fun and not as canon, right? Because it's a different universe. Mm-hmm. You can have these designs of RC and Velocity, and you don't have to hate on, the designs of Windblade or RC in G1 or RC in the More Than Meets the Eye universe, right? Because, they're different. They were drawn by Alex in both places, right? But one does not need to replace the other. They can both exist, and you can like both. We saw a lot of people hating on the old designs with the release of these designs this week, and I just wanted to kind of put it out there that you don't need to like only one. You can have both.
Yeah, I mean, and Alex, when we've had Alex on the show before, he's talked about how every time he does a new project where he's taking he wants to take a slightly different design on new characters and create new designs for classic characters. So just get it every time you get something different from Alex Milne, which I think is great. And I love to see redesigns of characters just to see variation. And that doesn't mean I didn't like the old designs. The old designs are great too. So yeah, it's enjoy everything.
This is just another opportunity for lots of cool toys.
Yeah. And I mean, the likelihood is fairly low, but still, Alex is one of those designers and artists that you can take a look at the RC or the Velocity and your brain can put it together. You're like, yeah, that's the hood that flips up, the arms go in, and then they got the sides and the legs flip back, and there's the back, and your car is there. You can transform it in your brain and everything kind of works. Whereas some of the other artists, you're like, yeah, it all just looks like a mess. I mean, the movie designs are a perfect example. They are garbage. They don't they don't make any sense at all.
They're made of transformium.
That's true. But
Transformium isn't even from the movies, is it? I thought that was an 80s thing.
It was from the movie.
Fourth movie.
No, I know they say it in the movies. I thought that was in Transformers before.
No.
Oh,
that was
they-
Age of
No.
Extinction. That was introduced in Age of Extinction.
Really? They never said that before, huh?
Nope.
No.
That
Just
sounded
your
like an
garbage
80s thing.
movies. Yeah.
That word had never been uttered.
There was Cybertonium. There was Cybertonium in G1. There was not Transformium.
But I'm just saying, Alex is a very talented artist, and his designs do often get picked up by third-party companies because that's just how they work.
They don't care about IP.
Yeah, but they're very easy to kind of figure out in your brain. And as this week has gone on, there is one person out there that has been kind of trying to figure out a 3-dimensional way to build this RC. And their Twitter has been kind of, bouncing around and through the week, and it's been neat to kind of follow. But I don't think it's ever going to become a toy, but it's just neat to see them try to figure it out. And it's the fact that it's been going so quickly is a testament to how well the design has been drawn. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing is the Velocity has a back tattoo, and that is so sick. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Well, that's from what's his nuts, the movie, right? What's that? The Burt Reynolds movie. God, I can't remember the name of it.
Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah, that's the Smokey and the Bandit car.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what that is. So yeah, you'll notice. I mean, I've had some discussions with Alex because we're Canadian. I just yell out the window and he hears me and he yells back. So, but
Canada, what a magical place.
Some of the designs for Velocity you may notice. I don't know whether they've been done on this sheet here, but he did have to change some of the designs of the headlights because they didn't actually give permission to use the Firebird. So
He actually commented in this TFW.
Oh, did
thread.
he? Okay, perfect.
Someone mentioned that the lights are wrong, and he commented.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, that's exactly why. So we're planning. It's not set in stone yet, but we are planning to have Alex on once this is all done. And he's going to explain some of the interesting edits that he had to make because of, using 80s cars and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be fun to chat about this with him once this is all done.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last topic I thought was interesting. regarding comics goes all the way back to Transformers #1 back in 1984. So I found this article on GoCollect.com, which is a site, talking about, for collectors and things. And they have an article that's saying Transformers #1 is reaping the rewards from Netflix, and that the interest and popularity of the Netflix War for Cybertron Siege series has pushed up the market value of Transformers #1 from the 80s. So if you've got a Transformers #1 that's highly graded, like CGC 9.8, and you've got it kicking around and you were thinking about selling it, so a couple of years ago in 2018, it would go for less than $400. But now, in just the last 3 months or so, these graded copies at 9.8 have averaged $739. And at the high point, some were going for over $800, like $850 to $870. So there's been a huge jump in price for Transformers #1. And not just with the highly graded ones. So even if you go down a little bit, like a 9.6 graded one, that used to be averaged about $145, but now it's selling for $407.
I have a sold listings page up right now, and here's two: a 9.8, $2,695 sold on August 2nd.
No,
and $3,000 that's signed by Frank Welker and Peter Cullen, sold on July 31st for $3,000.
Wow. So
some people just have too much money.
Yeah.
Who else don't know what to do with it.
But yeah, so in particular, I know one thing they called out specifically was that if you have a Canadian variant of Transformers #1, that goes for a little bit higher price. It's about $200 higher than the American variants. So Daryl, you got any graded Canadian Transformers #1?
I don't have any graded, and we just call them the loony variants because they're the dollar ones here. Mine, I looked when I saw your topic here, and I looked, and mine is actually one of them Yankee Doodle variants. No, it's not graded or anything like that. The Canadian variants for the original Marvel series went from numbers 1 to 21, I think it went to. So yeah, you can get the entire that first 21 issues in the Canadian variants. And there's an awful lot of Marvel books that have Canadian variants out there. Pretty much anything in that age range from when those books were coming out, they all had Canadian variants. And there's some pretty big books, like bigger than Transformers, that have a Canadian variant out there that are highly sought after. I've got over 6,400 books in my collection, and I've never gone through them to see if I have any Canadian variants. I'm sure I've got tons of them, and I don't personally. I don't care.
I just thought this was really interesting because Transformers, the 1984 Transformers #1. I think we've all got a copy of them. I mean, they're not that hard to find. I guess the highly graded ones are probably a little bit rarer, but they are never. Transformers has never been a really hot commodity comic book in terms of even the 80s nostalgia versions. You can still pick up those old comics for not a lot of money. So it's just cool to see that something when Transformers is getting into the zeitgeist again. I mean, the Netflix show has reignited a lot of people's memories of Transformers, beyond the live action movies. And so it's interesting to see the comic price being affected there.
I find it interesting is when you have people who are not in the fandom but are comic dealers and whatnot, when they seem to have an issue of #1, they feel as though it's gold, right? Because it's all the first appearance of all Transformers and all, everything to do with Transformers. And oh my God, there's 6 movies out and there's countless TV shows and there's still a toy line going out. I mean, this thing's got to be worth tons. I mean, it's going nuts, right? Well, you'll see them out there priced at $200 for a #1. And, it's not a 9.8 or anything like that. It's just a regular copy that is not in the greatest condition. It's just an okay condition, but yeah, I don't know. It's I've never thought of number one being worth more than $35 or anything like that. It's nothing special. In fact, I gave away a third printing of number one back a number of years ago now, just as a gift to somebody, and it was signed by Budiansky. I'd had it signed by Budiansky, and I had replaced it with a first printing. I just said, "Oh, you don't have a number one? Oh, I'll give you mine." It's just a third printing, so it's nothing. And I never particularly found them super valuable to have. It's just another comic book that just so happens to be the first one for Transformers. And I have a feeling that after the Siege and all this Netflix stuff kind of dies down, it always seems to do it for every property. But I think we'll see the prices kind of come crashing down a bit.
Yeah, probably. So sell now if you're it's a seller's market now, but that window's probably
if you're sitting on a bunch of copies of it, sell them.
All right, that's all the comics news, so let's move on to our comic review. And we are reviewing Transformers Galaxies, issue number 8, Gauging the Truth, Part 2. Written by Sam Maggs, art by Beth McGuire-Smith and Umi Meow, colors by Josh Burcham, letters and design by Jake M. Wood. Editors David Marriott and Tom Waltz, assistant editor Riley Farmer. So we have 3 covers. Cover A is by Umi Meow, and this shows Gage having a crisis of memory and all the different memories shattering like glass behind her. Then we have cover B by Winston Chan, a friend of the show, Donatreon. It shows Gage, RC, and Greenlight looking out the porthole of the ship and seeing a planet in the distance. What planet is that? You'll see. And then cover Retailer Incentive is art by Bethany McGuire-Smith. And this shows Gage looking sad in the foreground with RC and Greenlight behind her, and then Heretic in the background being sinister. So, Eric, which of these covers do you like?
I think my favorite's probably the one with like all the shattered, like is that memories or I don't know. The one with her in the middle, and then all the different shards of all the different Transformers and stuff. I just really like that aesthetic. I think it's really neat, and I think it kind of shows what the character's going through best. So cool. I think that's probably my favorite. I do really like all of them, though. They are all nice.
Mm-hmm. Daryl, what do you think?
Oh, I'm going to have to go with our friend Winston Chan's cover. The lines are very clean, and I really I like the suspense on what's happening through the porthole, kind of the window. Yeah, I like it. It looks great, and Winston's a great person.
Cool. Jeremy, which one are you picking?
I think they were all great. If I had to pick one outside of Winston's, because he's a great person, probably the Bethany McGuire-Smith one, just because she did the work on the inside. No, wait, I guess she didn't. It was Umi Meow.
They both did.
No, she did. Okay, yeah. I like it. I like the whole mind control imagery of it. The colors are great on it. That would be the one outside of Winston's I'd pick.
All right. I would also pick Winston Chan's cover. I really like that.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. If I had the opportunity to buy it, I would have bought it. It was not in my shop, as I mentioned in Trips to the Store. But yeah, I agree with Daryl. The lines are very clean. It's a very well done image, and it basically is the last page of the comic, as expressed on the cover. So cool. All right, let's talk about the story. We pick up from the end of the last issue, where Gage had been drawn by mysterious coded messages to the brig in the belly of the reversionist starship. Gage meets the prisoners RC and Greenlight, who claim to know her, but she doesn't know them. She asks who they are and how they know her, but they hesitate to provide a straight answer. Greenlight tells Gage the reversionists have altered her memories, and it's easier to show than tell. She hands Gage a psychic patch cable with her real memories encoded on it. Greenlight asks her to trust them and look at the memories. Gage is still unsure of what to believe, but she takes the psychic patch and connects it to her head. She is overwhelmed with a flood of memories coming back to her. She sees the moment of her forging, when her spark emerged from Primus and she came into being. She remembers the first Cybertronians to greet her as she came online, her mentors RC and Greenlight. Gage remembers the panic and terror as she, RC, and Greenlight fled the destruction of the falling tether from Cybertron's moon. They thought they had found sanctuary on the reversionist starship departing Cybertron. They had just barely made it on board before it left. But the reversionists did not welcome unbelievers onto their ship. RC and Greenlight were captured and imprisoned. But since Gage was so young, being a newly forged Cybertronian, they could rewrite her memory and turn her into a faithful curate, with a new mentor, Accelerator. Gage disconnects the psychic patch and is mostly convinced, but still unsure of herself. She resolves to free RC and Greenlight, but the security panel is hard-coded and she'd need to get the key code from the ship's mainframe, which is only accessible through Plenary Heretic's private chambers. But Greenlight is more concerned with discovering what the reversionists are planning and stopping it. That's the priority, and that's where they need Gage's help. Gage agrees to try and returns to her duties as a reversionist curate, seemingly just as devoted as ever. But now she has a new mission. Her mentor, Accelerator, chastises Gage for being gone for so long and missing her daily routine. Gage accepts the scolding from Accelerator and tries to form a plan to access Heretic's quarters. She asks Accelerator if she can perform some special services to atone for her misdeeds. Perhaps she can organize the Plenary Heretic's personal files or clean his chambers. Accelerator applauds Gage's willingness to atone, but she can't approve this request directly. She'll pass it along and come back to Gage with an answer in time. But time is the one thing Gage doesn't have. Gage goes back to her duties and devotionals, trying to form a plan B. In the latest Reversionist Daily Gathering, Heretic declares that the time for action is now. Primus decrees the Reversionists are meant for greatness, and tonight they will ascend to destiny. That sounds pretty ominous, and Gage realizes she's out of time. Gage waits until the coast is clear and sneaks into the Plenary's chambers. She accesses the mainframe and gets the information she needs, but even as she takes this course of action, she's still unsure if she can trust RC and Greenlight. What if they're manipulating her just like the Reversionists are? She accesses the information to get the truth for herself. Unfortunately, she is discovered by Accelerator, who calls the guards. Gage runs past her and races back to the brig, where she unlocks the cell and frees RC and Greenlight. All three of them team up and fight off the Reversionist guards and make their escape. RC and Greenlight are thrilled to have their mentee back. Gage tells them she almost didn't free them, but she realized that her mentors didn't try to force her to do what they wanted. They asked for her help, but they gave her a choice. That was something no one else had done, and so she knew she could trust them. But there's no time to celebrate their reunion. On the shipwide PA system, Heretic's voice announces that the Reversionist time is nigh. They will cleanse the planet below of all the factions, and the Reversionists will claim this world for their own. Gage, RC, and Greenlight look out a porthole and realize the terrible truth. The planet their ship is orbiting is Cybertron. To be continued in part 3 next month. So this is this is building up from the last issue. So there's not a whole lot of action, but it is very much a, kind of a psychological thriller here. I thought it was really interesting what they're doing with Gage and giving her a little bit of a crisis of conscience as what to do and how she, whether or not she can trust RC and Greenlight as compared to the Reversionists, and how she's really kind of, she doesn't really have anything to ground herself on because she can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imaginary and what's been forced on her. So I thought that was really cool. I thought the art was very, very well done. I really couldn't tell the difference between where Umi Meow did the artwork and where Bethany McGuire-Smith did the artwork. So I think their styles meshed really well throughout the whole issue. Again, the coloring that Josh Bertram did was really well done. It really highlighted the individuality of Gage, RC, and Greenlight, and then the kind of sameness of all the other reversionist cultists. And I really liked how the color showed the atmosphere between the different characters. Really, Accelerator is the only character Accelerator and Heretic are the only reversionist characters who get kind of a full color rendering, and then everyone else is kind of just monochrome. So it's really highlighting how much of a cult this reversionist sect is. And I just thought all the artwork with Gage and her dynamic poses was really well done. So I was pretty pleased with this issue. I know it wasn't a whole lot of action, but I thought the storyline was pretty well done. And I'm looking forward to the conclusion in part 3. So Daryl, what did you think of this comic?
Well, you're right. It's not a lot of action. It's it's not really the kind of comic that I'm into. The whole like cult thing and the religious kind of sect is really kind of not my style of what I tend to like to read. So I found the premise and the overall story I find it very kind of boring and blasé. But the art, I did enjoy the art. I can tell where Umi Meow's art and Bethany Maguire-Smith's does change. It looks like Umi does probably the first half or third. I think it's probably half, and then Bethany takes over. They're both very good. I do think that it might be done on purpose, but it does seem to lack backgrounds, especially in like the upper half of the panels and such, and that might be purposely done. I don't know, but I'm missing backgrounds here, and you get a lot of like, I guess it would be like speed lines and stuff like that take up more of the backgrounds to show action or movement. Personally, I'd be much more happy to see details and where they are, that kind of thing. Other than that, I mean, the stories, it's a quick story. Galaxies is a kind of a predecessor or the continuation of what would have been Spotlights about a decade ago. I don't mind that they go a few issues here or there. This is 3 issues, which is a really weird amount. So either, I don't know whether they're going to, include this, in some kind of trade, because 3 is way too little.
Well, I think they're supposed to be doing just the Galaxies trade, which is all 12 issues. So it's it's kind of a maxi trade.
Cool.
Yeah.
The story is this, it's I'm assuming everything's going to come to its, crescendo in the next issue. And maybe we'll get a little bit more action and that. We'll find out what the hell Heretic's business is and what if there is a main point to what they're trying to do. Obviously, cleansing Cybertron is, seems to be the main thing right now. But that's a very ambitious goal. It really isn't my story right now, and hopefully issue 3 is a bit more actiony.
All right, Eric, what did you think of this story?
I definitely liked it. I think RC and Greenlight are awesome moms. I really like their pairing, though. I think they're pretty good. I really do like the inner, just debate that Gage has to have as to, what, I'm glad that Gage didn't just go oh, there's the Autobots, they're the good guys, I'm going to help them now. Cool. No, she actually had to think about, my memories keep getting wiped, and then, my memories are wiped, and then they're giving me memories, and it's who has the real memories? What? What even am I? I enjoyed the fact that she actually went back and forth on that, and then I really did like how she chose to go help them as it being yeah, I wasn't forced. That's why I did it. I'm okay. You have a good sense of direction. I really liked the art. I'm definitely looking forward to, because I wish there would have been a little more action. I didn't need a ton, because I did think that the debate that she was having was pretty interesting. But I think the third issue will be probably the best one, if I had to take a guess, because I think they'll probably have some interesting stuff and balance it out with action. I'm also curious, along with Daryl, as to how are you going to cleanse Cybertron? That seems like that's going to take a decent amount of work. So yeah, I'm curious to see where the third issue goes. I liked it, though, for sure.
All right, Jeremy, what did you think?
Where this really wasn't one of Daryl's books, I really enjoyed it. The whole cult storyline, I'm really digging. And I loved it how even when Gage was on the way to trust RC and Greenlight. She's still like, there was that point where she was like, a few cycles ago, I would have been 100% convinced that breaking into the mainframe would mean I would like burn in the fires or whatever. And she's like, and now I'm only 60%.
I liked that line too.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not a complete flip over to, the other side. She's like, she's still doubting herself. And she's like, I'm pretty convinced I'm doing the right thing, but if I'm not, I'm still going to hell. And yeah, I thought this was written really well. Yeah, there's not a lot of action, but it's clear that next issue is going to be a lot of action. The art, I think, was great. I also couldn't tell, who did what parts just offhand, but the colors really made a great thing in blending the two sections, having that consistency. And one more thing on the story, I liked the kind of revisiting when they were getting onto the ship, kind of, because that happened in the main book so many months ago because of the delays and everything. So it was nice remembering that they got onto the ship, in such a hurry, and then seeing the rest of that part where it's like, oh, we're on a ship of a bunch of people that think that we are like non-believers, and it just kind of seeing, okay, this is how they ended up where they were. I thought that was, I like seeing that, and, seeing them taking advantage of Gage being such a new forged being. They can just mold her into what they want her to be. So yeah, this series continues to just be really great.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I hope they continue this anthology format where we get these like 1 or 2 or 3-part stories, and just keep it going, move the focus to different characters every couple of months. So, all right, well, that is our review of Transformers Galaxies number 8, and we will move on to Transformers media news.
All right, in media news this week, not a whole hell of a lot going on. We've got Transformers, Bumblebee, Cyberverse, more names, adventures. Season 3 is about to air in Australia on Channel 9. If you have not seen it in Australia, there it is. Yeah, enjoy. I'm sure that I think the original airing was from Australia, but I thought maybe it wasn't. All right. Anywho, if you're not in Australia and you're in the US, you can watch episode 21 on the Hasbro YouTube channel, but only if you're in the US. Don't attempt to do it if you're in any other country. YouTube will slap you down. And that's it for media news.
All right, and we will finish up the show with convention news.
All right, just a quick thing here. New York Comic Con is not happening. They have announced that they're going to have an online metaverse event October 8th through 11th. They haven't really announced anything other than that, but it will be on YouTube. So, that's great. You're not going to have to worry about stuttering videos and stuff. Everyone seems to just be like, well, YouTube can do this video thing. So they are also joining forces with MCM Comic Con in London. So this metaverse is going to be a combination of both events. They're all Reed Prop shows, so it's all the same family. Anyway, we'll have more information about that as it pertains to Transformers stuff as it's announced. So that's it for convention news this week.
All right, and that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Eric, thanks for joining us this week, and tell everyone where they can find you on the internet and find your stuff.
Thanks for having me. If you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Eric Crowbar. Also, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can definitely go listen to Radio Free Cybertron and Steel City Bots.
Nice, and we will link to those in the show notes so everyone can find them. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Still, DJ Ronan's an audience of one, hanging out with us. And I'm losing my voice. And we will move on to Transformers media news.
Am I waiting?
Bow, but down, but down.